In the not-so-distant future, Earth was a world of peace and progress. Cities gleamed with advanced technology, and people lived their lives with the comfort of modern conveniences. Yet, amid this tranquility, something unexpected was about to shake their world. It started with a signal. On a quiet morning, scientists at Earth's top space research center received a mysterious transmission from deep space. The message was short, cryptic, and alarming. Run. The signal was followed by a burst of static and then silence. No more communication came through, leaving the scientists puzzled. Dr. Emily Carter, a leading scientist in interstellar communications, was the first to decipher the message. Her eyes widened as she realized the gravity of what she had found. The message was not a random noise or a malfunction. It was a warning. But a warning from whom? And why? Dr. Carter quickly informed her team and higher authorities. Within hours, the message had reached the desks of the world's leaders. The United Nations called an emergency meeting. In a secure room, representatives from all major nations gathered, their faces reflecting a mix of confusion and concern. President Andrew Collins, a leader known for his calm demeanor, addressed the assembly. "We have received a warning from an unknown source. It says simply run. We don't know who sent it or why. Our scientists believe it might be a genuine threat." General Mark Reynolds, the head of Earth's defense forces, stood up. "Sir, with all due respect, it could be a hoax. We have no way to verify its origin or intent." The room erupted in murmurs. Some leaders wanted to ignore the warning, thinking it was a prank or a test of their reactions. Others, however, were deeply concerned. The idea of a possible alien threat was unsettling, especially with no concrete evidence. In a small, dimly lit room at the Space Research Center, Dr. Carter and her team worked tirelessly to trace the signal's origin. They examined every possible scenario. Was it a distress signal? A warning from a rival civilization? Or something else entirely? Hours turned into days, and the situation grew more tense. The public caught wind of the mysterious message, and rumors spread like wildfire. News outlets broadcasted the story, fueling public anxiety. People speculated about possible alien invasions, and some even began to prepare for the worst. Back at the United Nations, the debate continued. Some leaders argued that it was better to be safe than sorry. They pushed for increased military readiness and the development of advanced defense systems. Others thought it was premature and wanted to focus on diplomatic channels. President Collins decided to take a cautious approach. "We will not panic," he said firmly. "We will investigate this matter thoroughly and prepare for any eventuality. We must act with both caution and resolve." The next few weeks were a whirlwind of activity. Earth's military and scientific communities sprang into action. They initiated secret projects to develop new technologies and defense mechanisms. The research centers worked around the clock, analyzing the signal and devising strategies. As the preparations continued, Earth's top minds focused on understanding the warning. They theorized that the message might be a test or a psychological tactic. The Galactic Empire, a rumored but never confirmed interstellar power, was speculated to be the sender. According to ancient space legends, the Empire was known for its advanced technology and ruthlessness. Despite the growing tension, Earth's leaders tried to maintain a sense of normalcy. They assured the public that measures were being taken to ensure their safety. Life continued, but the shadow of uncertainty loomed over the world. Dr. Carter and her team, meanwhile, made a breakthrough. They managed to partially decode another fragment of the message that hinted at the Empire's intent. The message suggested that the Galactic Empire had never faced resistance from humanity before and was now assessing their potential threat. The news spread like wildfire among the defense teams. General Reynolds ordered a complete overhaul of Earth's defense strategies. The military began training exercises with new simulations, preparing for possible scenarios of an alien encounter. On the other hand, the Galactic Empire, hidden in the depths of space, watched Earth's response with interest. Their advanced surveillance systems monitored Earth's activities closely. The Empire's leaders were curious about how a relatively young civilization like humanity would handle the unknown threat. As the days went by, Earth's response became more organized and focused. Scientists and military experts worked together, sharing their knowledge and resources. The public, though anxious, showed remarkable resilience. They went about their lives hoping for the best while preparing for the worst. The first part of the story closed with a sense of uneasy calm. Earth was on high alert, ready for whatever might come next. The Galactic Empire's warning had sparked a series of events that would change humanity's future. As the world braced itself for the unknown, the question remained, was the warning a genuine threat? Or was it a test of humanity's resolve? This was just the beginning of a much larger story, one where the fate of Earth and its inhabitants would be decided in the face of the unknown. The hidden threat weeks had passed since Earth received the cryptic warning from deep space. The world was now on high alert, with scientists and military experts working around the clock. The message run had created a storm of anxiety and confusion, and the fear of the unknown hung heavy in the air. Dr. Emily Carter and her team were deep in analysis, trying to understand the true nature of the warning. They had managed to decode parts of the message, revealing that the Galactic Empire, an ancient and powerful civilization, was involved. The team was racing against time to piece together more information. In a high-tech lab at the Space Research Center, Dr. Carter worked tirelessly with her colleagues. Monitors displayed various data streams, and piles of research papers cluttered the desks. The team had discovered that the Galactic Empire was known for its advanced technology and military might. They had never encountered humans before, and this warning seemed to be their way of assessing a potential threat. Dr. Carter's mind was focused on one pressing question. Why would such a powerful civilization send a warning to a relatively young species like humanity? The answer, she feared, might be worse than they imagined. Meanwhile, General Mark Reynolds and his staff were busy preparing Earth's defenses. The military had ramped up its training exercises, and new defense systems were being tested. The threat of an alien invasion was not taken lightly. Soldiers were briefed on possible scenarios, and secret projects were underway to develop advanced weapons and strategies. The public, though reassured by their leaders, remained anxious. News reports about the mysterious message and Earth's preparations filled the media. Speculation was rife. Some believed the warning was a bluff, while others feared an imminent attack. In a secure meeting room, President Andrew Collins and his advisors gathered to discuss the latest developments. The atmosphere was tense, and everyone was eager for answers. Dr. Carter presented her team's findings. "We've uncovered more information about the Galactic Empire," Dr. Carter said. "They are a powerful force, and their technology is far beyond ours. The warning they sent might be a sign of their seriousness." The room fell silent. The leaders exchanged worried glances. If the Empire was as formidable as the report suggested, Earth might be in grave danger. President Collins addressed the group. "We need to prepare for all possibilities. Our military must be ready for any scenario, but we also need to keep investigating. There might be a way to understand the Empire's intentions better." General Reynolds nodded in agreement. "We'll continue our preparations and ensure our defenses are robust. At the same time, we need to explore diplomatic channels. There might be a way to communicate with the Empire directly." As the days passed, Earth's military efforts intensified. New technologies were developed, and covert operations were carried out to secure Earth's space defenses. The goal was clear: to be ready for any eventuality. On the other side of the galaxy, the Galactic Empire watched Earth's response with great interest. The Empire's command center was a hive of activity, with officers analyzing the data on their advanced screens. The Empire's leaders were intrigued by humanity's reaction. The warning had been a test, a way to gauge Earth's readiness and response. An Empire strategist, Lord Zeron, reviewed the reports. "The humans are more resilient than we anticipated. They are taking our warning seriously and preparing for a possible confrontation. This could make them more dangerous." Lord Zeron's superior, Empress Solara, considered the implications. "If Earth is truly preparing for war, it might be time to reassess our strategy. We must decide whether to proceed with our original plan or find another approach." Back on Earth, Dr. Carter made a breakthrough. She and her team discovered a hidden message within the signal, a set of coordinates pointing to a location in deep space. The coordinates matched an area where the Empire's ships were detected. This discovery changed everything. The hidden message hinted at a possible meeting point or a critical location for the Empire. It could be a base, a stronghold, or something even more significant. Dr. Carter shared the findings with President Collins and General Reynolds. "We found coordinates linked to the Galactic Empire," Dr. Carter explained. "This might lead us to their main base or a key location. It's our best chance to understand their true intentions." The leaders were excited, but cautious. If the coordinates led to a critical location, it could provide valuable insights or even a chance to communicate directly with the Empire. President Collins made a decision. "We will send a probe to the coordinates to gather more information. We must be careful, but this is an opportunity we cannot ignore." A high-tech probe was launched toward the coordinates. It traveled through space, its sensors collecting data and sending it back to Earth. The probe's journey was a crucial step in uncovering the Empire's plans. As the probe approached the designated area, tension gripped Earth. The probe's data would be analyzed carefully, and every bit of information could be vital for preparing Earth's defenses or finding a peaceful resolution. In the Galactic Empire, Lord Xeron and Empress Solara awaited the outcome of their test. The Empire's plans were still in motion, but the unexpected response from humanity had added a new layer of complexity to their strategy. Part 2 of the story concluded with Earth's preparation for a potential confrontation and the Empire's ongoing evaluation of humanity. The probe's journey was a key development that would shape the future of Earth and the Galactic Empire. The fate of both worlds hinged on the upcoming revelations. Building defenses, the days were growing shorter and the tension was palpable. Earth's leaders had received new data from the probe, confirming that the Galactic Empire's forces were approaching their solar system. The urgency to prepare for a potential confrontation reached new heights. In the heart of Earth's Defense Command Center, General Mark Reynolds was at the center of a whirlwind of activity. His team was working around the clock, developing new technologies and refining strategies to protect the planet. The once ordinary base was now a hive of high-tech equipment and dedicated personnel. General Reynolds called a meeting with his top officers and scientists. The room was filled with holographic maps and screens displaying real-time data. The atmosphere was tense but focused. "Ladies and gentlemen," General Reynolds began, "we have confirmed that the Galactic Empire's forces are getting closer. Our task is to build and strengthen our defenses to ensure we can stand against their might." Dr. Emily Carter, who had become a key advisor in the defense efforts, stood beside him. "We've made significant progress in developing new technology. Our scientists have been working on advanced shields and energy weapons that could give us an edge." The room buzzed with excitement and determination. The defense project had become a top priority, and everyone knew the stakes were high. The goal was clear: to protect Earth from what could be the most significant threat humanity had ever faced. In the research labs, engineers and scientists were hard at work. They were creating new energy shields that could withstand powerful attacks and developing weapons capable of penetrating the Empire's advanced defenses. The labs were filled with prototypes and test models, each one a step closer to the final product. One of the most promising projects was a new type of energy shield. It was designed to create a protective barrier around key locations on Earth and in space. The shield's technology was still experimental, but initial tests showed it could absorb and deflect powerful energy blasts. Meanwhile, Earth's military forces were undergoing rigorous training exercises. Soldiers, pilots, and naval officers were put through intense simulations to prepare them for the possibility of an alien attack. The training scenarios were designed to mimic potential combat situations, giving the troops a chance to practice their responses and strategies. The military also worked on improving their existing defenses. Space stations and satellite networks were upgraded to enhance their tracking capabilities and communication systems. Every detail was scrutinized to ensure that Earth's defenses were as robust as possible. President Andrew Collins and his advisors remained deeply involved in the preparation efforts. They frequently visited the command center to stay updated on progress and offer support. The president's calm and steady leadership was crucial in maintaining morale during this tense period. As the weeks went by, Earth's preparations became more advanced. The new technology was tested in live drills, and the results were promising. The energy shields and weapons performed well, giving the defense teams confidence in their capabilities. But despite the progress, there was still a sense of uncertainty. The Galactic Empire was a formidable opponent, and no one could predict exactly how the confrontation would unfold. The constant threat of an imminent attack kept everyone on edge. In the Galactic Empire, Lord Xeron and Empress Solara monitored Earth's response with keen interest. They observed the new defenses being built and the military preparations with a mix of curiosity and concern. The Empire's leaders were assessing whether to proceed with their plans or reconsider based on the new information. Lord Xeron convened a meeting with his top strategists. The humans are making impressive progress with their defenses. We need to determine whether they are ready for a direct confrontation or if they are merely bluffing. Empress Solara nodded. We must be cautious. If Earth's new technology proves effective, it could alter our plans. We need to gather more intelligence and prepare for all possible scenarios. Back on Earth, the final stages of preparation were underway. The military conducted joint exercises with allied nations, practicing coordinated attacks and defenses. The goal was to create a unified front against the potential threat. As the Galactic Empire's ships drew nearer, Earth's defenses were put to the ultimate test. A series of drills and simulations were conducted to ensure that every system was functioning correctly. The exercises were intense and realistic, pushing the limits of the new technology and the capabilities of the military personnel. The sense of unity and determination among Earth's forces was palpable. Everyone was committed to the mission, driven by the knowledge that the fate of their planet depended on their efforts. The preparation had become a collective endeavor, with each individual playing a crucial role. The final part of the preparations involved ensuring that Earth's civilian population was informed and prepared. The government issued public statements reassuring people that measures were in place to protect them, while the details of the defense plans were kept confidential. The public was encouraged to stay vigilant and supportive. As the deadline approached, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. Earth's defenses were in place and the military was ready. The new technology had been tested and refined, and the troops were prepared for the challenge ahead. Part 3 of the story closed with Earth's defense system ready and the military prepared for an unknown but imminent threat. The next chapter would reveal whether the preparations would be enough to withstand the Galactic Empire's might, or if humanity would face its greatest challenge yet, the Empire's real plan, as Earth's defenses were put into place and the military prepared for an impending confrontation. The Galactic Empire's true intentions began to take shape. The Empire's leaders, watching Earth's preparations closely, were far from idle. They had their own plans, ones that went beyond the simple threat of invasion. On a colossal starship orbiting a distant star, Empress Solara and Lord Xeron discussed their strategy in the command chamber. The room was filled with advanced technology and holographic displays, highlighting the vastness of the Empire's reach. The humans have been busy, Empress Solara observed, her eyes scanning the latest reports from their surveillance network. Their preparations are more advanced than we anticipated. They are clearly taking our warning seriously, Lord Xeron nodded. Yes, but their focus is on defense. They are preparing for an attack, not understanding our true motives. It's time we put our real plan into action. Solara raised an eyebrow. What do you propose? We will initiate Phase 2 of our strategy, Xeron said, his tone cold and calculating. Our initial warning was designed to test their readiness. Now we need to assess their ability to handle a more complex situation. We will introduce a new variable, a simulated attack combined with psychological operations. Solara's eyes narrowed. Explain further. Our plan is to create a series of false alarms and minor attacks, Xeron explained. These will be designed to cause confusion and fear. While the humans focus on these threats, we will gather more intelligence about their true capabilities and their reactions to a broader range of scenarios. Solara considered this for a moment. You believe this will provide us with the information we need? Exactly, Xeron replied. By observing how they handle a multifaceted threat, we will gain insights into their strengths and weaknesses. This will allow us to devise a more precise strategy, whether for a full-scale invasion or for a different form of engagement. On Earth, the situation seemed relatively calm as the final preparations continued. The military was in high spirits, confident in their readiness. However, the peace was soon disrupted by a series of alarming events. It began with a sudden increase in space debris. Small, seemingly random objects began to collide with Earth's newly deployed defense satellites. The collisions caused minor damage and disrupted communications temporarily. The military was on high alert, scrambling to assess the situation. General Mark Reynolds and his team were immediately called into action. "We're experiencing unusual activity in space," Reynolds reported to President Collins and Dr. Carter. "There's been a spike in collisions with our satellites. We're investigating, but it could be an attempt to test our defenses." Dr. Carter, analyzing the data, noted that the debris patterns were too precise to be random. "This doesn't look like a natural phenomenon. The patterns suggest that someone is deliberately targeting our satellites. It could be a sign of a more sophisticated operation." As the investigation continued, the situation escalated. Reports began coming in about small, unidentifiable spacecraft approaching Earth's orbit. The vessels were not aggressive, but their presence caused significant concern. The spacecraft performed evasive maneuvers and avoided direct contact, adding to the sense of unease. The military responded by increasing patrols and deploying additional defense systems. The situation was chaotic, with different teams working to manage the new threats while maintaining readiness for a possible full-scale attack. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Empire, the simulated attacks and psychological operations were in full swing. Small, controlled bursts of energy were directed at various targets, creating the illusion of larger, coordinated assaults. The Empire's strategy was to sow confusion and observe how Earth's defenses responded to these distractions. Lord Xeron monitored the situation closely. The humans are reacting as expected. Their response is both defensive and reactionary. They are focusing on the immediate threats and failing to address the broader context. Empress Solara, reviewing the latest reports, agreed. Their focus on these simulated attacks is revealing their vulnerabilities. We now have enough data to refine our strategy. We can proceed with our next phase with greater precision. Back on Earth, the strain was beginning to show. The constant stream of false alarms and minor attacks had created a sense of uncertainty and fatigue among the defense teams. The military was stretched thin, juggling multiple threats and trying to maintain control. General Reynolds and Dr. Carter were working together to find a solution. "We need to take a step back and reassess our approach," Reynolds said. "The constant attacks are causing more confusion than we anticipated. We need to find a way to stabilize the situation and focus on the real threat." Dr. Carter agreed. "We should conduct a comprehensive review of all the data we have. There might be patterns or clues that could help us understand the true nature of these attacks and their origins." The review revealed that the simulated attacks were part of a larger psychological operation. The patterns in the attacks and the behavior of the unidentifiable spacecraft suggested a coordinated effort to manipulate Earth's response. With this new understanding, Earth's leaders began to shift their strategy. They focused on improving communication and coordination among the defense teams and implementing countermeasures to deal with the psychological tactics used by the Galactic Empire. As Part 4 concluded, the true nature of the Galactic Empire's plan became clearer. The simulated attacks and psychological operations had provided valuable insights into Earth's defenses and vulnerabilities. The next phase of the conflict would be shaped by the information gathered during this critical period. The stage was set for a confrontation that would test humanity's resolve and ingenuity like never before. The first clash. The atmosphere on Earth was tense as the Galactic Empire's ships loomed closer. After weeks of preparation and psychological warfare, the time had come for a direct confrontation. The warning run had been a prelude to what was about to unfold, a real test of Earth's defenses and resilience. In the command center, General Mark Reynolds and Dr. Emily Carter stood before a massive holographic display, which showed the Empire's ships approaching Earth. The space around the planet was now crowded with advanced enemy vessels. Each ship was a formidable sight, with their sleek designs and powerful weaponry. "General, we're receiving a new wave of signals," Dr. Carter reported, her voice steady but tense. The Empire's ships are moving into attack positions. Reynolds nodded, his expression grim. Prepare the defense systems. We need to be ready for an engagement. Alert all military units and deploy the advanced energy shields. The defense systems, recently tested and refined, sprang into action. Energy shields activated around key locations, and anti-spacecraft weapons powered up. The military was on high alert, ready for the first direct clash with the Galactic Empire. In space, the Empire's ships began their assault. A barrage of energy blasts and projectiles rained down on Earth's defensive positions. The sky lit up with flashes of light as the weapons collided with the energy shields, creating a stunning display of fire and sparks. The initial impact was intense. Earth's new shields held firm, but the force of the attack was substantial. The military's command stations were abuzz with activity as they tracked the incoming threats and coordinated the defense efforts. Impact on the outer shields. "We're holding steady, but the pressure is immense," one of the officers reported. General Reynolds was closely monitoring the situation. "We need to focus our fire on the enemy ships that are causing the most damage. Concentrate all available firepower on those targets." The military responded with precision. Spacecraft launched from Earth's space stations engaged the enemy ships, firing powerful energy blasts and missiles. The scene was chaotic, with Earth's forces fighting to maintain control amidst the onslaught. Dr. Carter analyzed the battle from her station. "We're seeing some success. The Empire's ships are taking damage, but they're also adapting quickly. Their tactics are more sophisticated than we anticipated." The clash continued for hours, with both sides exchanging blows. Earth's defenses were holding up well, but the cost was significant. The energy shields absorbed much of the impact, but there were still instances of damage to the defense satellites and space stations. The Empire's ships were relentless. They launched waves of attacks, probing different parts of Earth's defenses. The goal was clear: to test the limits of Earth's capabilities and find weaknesses to exploit. Despite the fierce battle, there were moments of triumph for Earth's forces. A coordinated strike successfully took down one of the Empire's ships, sending it spiraling out of control. The victory was short-lived, as the Empire's reinforcements arrived and renewed their assault. In the heat of the battle, communication and coordination were crucial. The defense teams worked together seamlessly, sharing information and responding to threats in real time. The experience was both grueling and revealing. As the first clash continued, the Galactic Empire's strategy became more apparent. The initial bombardment was designed to wear down Earth's defenses and gather more intelligence. The Empire's ships continued to test various approaches, seeking the most effective means to break through. On Earth, the toll of the battle was evident. The defense systems had managed to prevent a complete breach, but the fighting had taken its toll. Damage control teams were working to repair and reinforce the shields and weapons. General Reynolds and Dr. Carter reviewed the damage reports and strategized their next moves. "We've managed to hold them off, but this is only the beginning," Reynolds said. "We need to analyze their tactics and adjust our defense strategy accordingly." Dr. Carter agreed. "We've learned a lot from this first clash. The Empire is clearly testing us, and their attacks are calculated. We need to adapt and strengthen our positions." The battle had provided valuable insights into the Empire's approach and capabilities. The Empire's relentless testing revealed their commitment to finding a way through Earth's defenses. It was a challenging situation, but Earth's forces remained determined to protect their planet. As the clash began to wind down, the Empire's ships retreated, leaving behind a battlefield littered with debris and damaged equipment. The immediate threat had been repelled, but the war was far from over. The first clash had been a significant test of Earth's defenses and a harbinger of the conflicts to come. In the aftermath, the military and defense teams assessed the situation and made necessary adjustments. Repairs were underway, and new strategies were developed to address the weaknesses revealed during the battle. Part 5 concluded with the realization that Earth had survived the first clash with the Galactic Empire, but the fight was far from over. The battle had provided crucial lessons and set the stage for the ongoing conflict. The next phase of the war would require continued resilience and adaptation as humanity faced its most formidable challenge yet. Turning the tide, The aftermath of the first clash with the Galactic Empire had left Earth's defenses battered but resolute. The damage was extensive, but the determination of the Earth's forces was unwavering. As the military worked to repair and reinforce their positions, a new strategy began to take shape, one that would aim to turn the tide of the conflict in humanity's favor. In the command center, General Mark Reynolds and Dr. Emily Carter convened with their top advisors. The room was filled with holographic maps, damage reports, and analysis data from the recent battle. "We've learned a lot from the first clash," General Reynolds began, his voice steady. "The Empire's tactics are sophisticated, but we need to adapt. Our goal now is to turn the tide in our favor." Dr. Carter nodded, her mind racing with ideas. "We need to focus on exploiting the weaknesses we've identified. The Empire's ships are powerful, but their reliance on advanced technology can also be a vulnerability. If we can develop countermeasures, we might be able to shift the balance." The military's engineers and scientists went to work immediately, focusing on new strategies and technologies. One key area of development was a new type of electromagnetic pulse, EMP, weapon designed to disrupt the Empire's advanced systems. The EMP weapon aimed to neutralize the enemy's technology temporarily, giving Earth's forces an advantage in battle. Meanwhile, Earth's space forces continued to patrol and defend against smaller skirmishes. The recent battle had shown that while Earth's defenses were holding, the Empire's forces were relentless and adaptable. The new strategy required both offensive and defensive measures. As the weeks passed, the Earth's forces prepared for a counteroffensive. The EMP weapon was tested in simulated environments, and the results were promising. The weapon's design was refined to ensure maximum effectiveness against the Empire's ships. In space, the Empire's ships continued their operations, maintaining their pressure on Earth's defenses. Lord Xeron and Empress Solara monitored the situation with interest. The initial clash had given them valuable information about Earth's capabilities and limitations. "We need to adjust our strategy," Xeron said, reviewing the latest data. "The humans are more resilient than we anticipated. Their response to our initial attacks has been effective." Solara agreed. "Our next phase must account for their new countermeasures. We need to be prepared for a more aggressive response from them." The day of the counteroffensive arrived. Earth's forces were ready to put their new strategy into action. The EMP weapon was deployed, and the military was on high alert. The plan was to use the EMP weapon to disrupt the Empire's ships and create an opportunity for a decisive strike. As the Empire's ships approached Earth once again, the atmosphere was charged with anticipation. The EMP weapon was activated, sending a powerful pulse through space. The pulse reached the enemy fleet, and the effects were immediate. Several of the Empire's ships began to experience system failures. Energy shields flickered, and weapon systems malfunctioned. The disruption created an opening for Earth's forces to launch a coordinated attack. The response from Earth's military was swift and decisive. Fighters and warships engaged the disoriented enemy vessels, exploiting the temporary advantage provided by the EMP weapon. The battle was intense, but the tide had begun to shift. General Reynolds and Dr. Carter watched the battle unfold with a mix of hope and determination. "We're making progress," Reynolds said, seeing the effects of the EMP weapon. "Keep up the pressure. We need to capitalize on this opportunity." Dr. Carter, monitoring the data, saw that the Empire's forces were struggling to regain control. "The EMP is having a significant impact. We need to maintain the momentum and continue targeting their weakened ships." The clash continued with renewed vigor. Earth's forces, now more confident and strategic, engaged the Empire's ships with increased effectiveness. The Empire's once dominant fleet was being pushed back, and the momentum of the battle was shifting. Despite the success, the conflict was far from over. The Empire's ships were not easily defeated, and the fight was fierce. The battle showcased the resilience and resourcefulness of both sides. The Empire's forces regrouped and adjusted their tactics, preparing for a renewed assault. Back on Earth, the success of the counteroffensive was celebrated, but there was no time for complacency. The military and defense teams continued to work tirelessly, refining their strategies and preparing for the next phase of the conflict. General Reynolds and Dr. Carter reviewed the outcomes of the battle, analyzing what had worked and what needed improvement. "We've made a significant step forward," Reynolds said, "but we need to stay vigilant. The Empire will adapt and come back stronger," Dr. Carter agreed. "We've proven that we can turn the tide, but we must be prepared for their response. Our new strategies and technologies will be crucial in the battles to come." As Part 6 concluded, the battle had demonstrated that Earth could not only defend itself, but also strike back effectively. The tide of the conflict had turned, but the war was far from over. The next chapters of the struggle would be shaped by the lessons learned and the ongoing determination of humanity to protect their planet. A new peace, the intense battles with the Galactic Empire had left Earth scarred, but not broken. The successful counteroffensive had shifted the balance of power, and now both sides faced a critical juncture. The realization dawned that continued conflict would lead to immense losses on both sides, and the possibility of a new peace began to take shape. In the command center, General Mark Reynolds and Dr. Emily Carter were deep in discussion. The recent battles had shown that while Earth could defend itself and even take the offensive, the cost of continued warfare was high. The decision to explore diplomatic solutions was becoming increasingly important. "We've made significant progress," General Reynolds said, looking over the latest reports. "Our counteroffensive was a success, but the damage to both sides is substantial. We need to consider our next steps carefully." Dr. Carter, who had been analyzing the latest intelligence, nodded in agreement. The Empire is not showing signs of retreat, but they are also not pushing as aggressively as before. It's clear that they're reassessing their strategy. Perhaps it's time for us to explore diplomatic options. The idea of peace negotiations was cautiously discussed among Earth's leaders. The prospect of a truce and potential treaty was weighed against the risks of continued conflict. President Collins convened a high-level meeting with key advisors to discuss the possibility of reaching out to the Galactic Empire for negotiations. The meeting was held in a secure location, away from the daily pressures of the command center. President Collins addressed the assembled team, including General Reynolds, Dr. Carter, and other top officials. "Given the recent developments, I believe we should consider opening a dialogue with the Galactic Empire," President Collins began. "Our recent successes have given us leverage, and it might be time to explore a path to peace." General Reynolds spoke up. "I agree, Mr. President. We've proven that we can stand our ground and even turn the tide. But a prolonged conflict could have devastating consequences for both sides. A peace treaty might be our best option." Dr. Carter added, "We should be prepared for negotiations. We need to understand the Empire's interests and concerns, and we should have our own goals clearly defined. This will be a delicate process." The decision was made to send a diplomatic envoy to the Galactic Empire. A team was assembled, including experienced negotiators and experts in interstellar diplomacy. The envoy's mission was to propose a ceasefire and explore the terms of a potential peace treaty. The Galactic Empire, too, was facing a turning point. Empress Solara and Lord Xeron reviewed the latest reports from their commanders. The recent battles had been costly, and the Empire's leadership was aware that continuing the war could have far-reaching consequences. Empress Solara addressed her advisors. "The humans have shown remarkable resilience. Our recent strategy to test their defenses has had mixed results. It may be time to explore diplomatic options and assess the possibility of peace." Lord Xeron nodded. "We must approach this carefully. The humans have proven themselves to be formidable opponents. A peace treaty could be beneficial for both sides, but we need to ensure that our interests are protected." The Galactic Empire agreed to the proposal for negotiations. The diplomatic envoy from Earth arrived at the Empire's central hub, a massive space station orbiting a distant star. The station was a marvel of technology and power, reflecting the Empire's dominance. The initial meeting was tense, as both sides came to the table with their own set of expectations and concerns. The envoy from Earth, led by a seasoned diplomat named Ambassador Jameson, presented their case for a ceasefire and a formal treaty. "We have come to propose a ceasefire and open discussions for a peace treaty," Ambassador Jameson stated. "Our goal is to find a mutually beneficial resolution to the conflict and ensure the safety and stability of both our worlds." Empress Solara, with a measured tone, responded. We recognize the need for a resolution. The conflict has proven costly for both sides. We are willing to consider a peace treaty, provided that our interests are addressed. Negotiations began in earnest, with both sides working through a range of issues. The talks covered terms of the ceasefire, territorial disputes, and mutual agreements on future interactions. The process was complex, with many details to resolve, but both parties were committed to finding common ground. Throughout the negotiations, trust and cooperation began to build. The challenges were significant, but both sides demonstrated a willingness to compromise. The Empire's representatives and Earth's diplomats engaged in discussions that were often intense, but always focused on reaching a peaceful resolution.